YouTube peoples, thanks for coming back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about A5 journaling. If you happen to catch my very first YouTube video, then you will know that I am transitioning out of my Moleskine weekly notebook at the end of the year. And here she is. I think she's gonna make it. She's quite chunky, and however, I think she's going to hang in there for me. And when the new year comes, I will be moving into this new system. And the goal, if you recall, of that system was to have everything essentially in one place. And that one place I decided would be a Midori style journal. So I want to tell you a little bit more about the cover itself, and then exactly what's going inside and how I've set that up for now, and any potential problems that I'm anticipating, as well as the benefits to this system. So my A5 journal cover came from an Etsy shop, and I believe their name is Buteo or Buteo. I'm not exactly sure, but I will put the link as well. Company out of California. I ordered the, let me make sure I get it right, looking at my invoice, the 8 to 9 ounce wrinkly chestnut. You go on, you pick the size that you want. He has different various grades of leather, and then you get to choose not only which size, what color, but also what kind of overhang you want. From a minimal overhang, meaning how much is the cover itself going to go over your journals, to I think slim overhang, and then I think the third option is this option that I chose, the ample. I like my journal to actually cover the inserts completely. That's just one of those little, I don't know, quirks I have. I don't like when they stick out, that it's like annoying. So when I got the journal, it took about a week. I had sent him a DM. He responded very quickly about the size. I thought it was worth giving it a shot. And when I got the package, I had ordered just the black string enclosure, and he included as freebies this, I'm calling it a charm, this beautiful piece of dark leather, as well as a pink wrap, elastic closure, and these two little pieces of leather, which are stamped with my initials. So I thought that was really cool. So yeah, good Etsy shop. I would definitely highly recommend them. Now, one thing I also want to say that I absolutely adore about this journal is when you open it, when you take the wrap off, look how flat it lies. You don't have to wrestle with it. It just plops right down. So, you know, you don't have to do any of this. You don't have to have a clip or a clamp or whatever. It's fabulous. I just love, love, love that. And it was like that from the get-go. So I didn't have to fold it or bend it or anything. It just was perfect when it arrived. Now, the dimensions of this particular one, it is the A5 with the ample, and I will give you the measurements of that. The height of the journal cover is 8 3/4, and the width of the journal, corner to corner, is 13 3/4 inches. And for the rest of the world, because the United States is not with it enough to get into the metric system, it is 220 millimeters tall by 346 millimeters wide. So you can see as of right now, I've got two pretty large size in terms of paper quantity, and it really does nicely house the two of them. It comes with 4 elastics, and you can see the 2 of them there. I think that is standard. I'm sure that you could have that changed if you are a person who would rather have 2, but I like that option because I like to put as much into my journal as I possibly can. So the first thing that I've added is a little dashboard that I had to make myself, because I do not know where you can find a Midori insert. I like the zipper inserts, and I cannot find, let me see if I have it really quick, I can show you that. In my regular size traveler's notebook is this zippered pocket, and I cannot find one of these in an A5 size anywhere. So if any of you out there in the interwebs happen to know where I can get one of those, if you could hook me up with a link, I would be eternally grateful, because then I wouldn't have to rely on these poorly made homemade ones. This is just a piece of acetate that I cut to 8 1/4 by 5 3/4, which is the traditional A5 size, and then used packaging tape to attach it to some heavy cardstock. And then I just took my sewing machine and stitched some packaging. I think this came from a Thicker's bag, and sewed it onto the cardstock, and that's for right now is what I'm using as a little pocket to store some things. That's probably going to have to change, because as I get into this journal into the new year, I really like to keep as much fun supplies as I can, and this I know is not going to work. So the other option I was thinking about doing is finding a zippered pouch like this. In fact, I just may use this one and doing the same thing. Just add packaging tape to the back of it, and then attach a piece of cardstock, and then use this. And I like the option of having the zipper. But again, if I could find a true Midori A5 size one, that would be much better. So the very first notebook that I'm going to be using is the Midori MD notebook. I love this paper for many reasons. I love it that it comes in grid. I like the color. The off-white color is really, really pretty. And the fact that it can take the majority of the media that I use without any trouble. Fountain pens, distress stain, etc. Now, I will say, since my last video about this notebook, I did try, because I know a lot of you out in the journaling world like to use a technique where you take an Inktense pencil and rub it onto a baby wipe and then apply your color that way. I thought I would give that a try. I don't use that technique, but I was wondering how it would work for you who do use that technique. And there's absolutely no bleed through on this paper. So it works really well. About the only thing it doesn't like are dye inks, and I don't really use a lot of dye inks anyway. So let me show you how I've set this up in case you're interested in doing something similar. At the beginning of this journal, I've put in 12 months so that I can have a month at a glance. This is the extent of my planning. I don't do day to day. I just like to have everything at a month on 2 pages so that I can see what's coming up, put it down very quickly, and that's as far as I go. So this particular notebook has 52 blocks or grids lengthwise and 40 grids height-wise. So in order to get 5 weeks with 7 days, I divided the month up into a series of 7 grid blocks. These grids are 7 by 7. Now the reason I did that is because I wanted the blocks to be as large as possible. You can reconfigure this, obviously, any way you want. If you would rather do, 4 days on each side of the paper. But then you're limited to a size block of about 5. And that was just a little too small for me. So if this is, having the spine cutting Wednesday in half is going to bother you, then I would set it up that way. But this is not an issue for me. And once you do set it up this way, you will have 5 grids top to use as your header. And then you will have 3 grids on the right side of your page, which, crazy, but washi just magically fits in there, which I thought was so cool. It was like perfect. So those are my monthly setups. I don't have them all done, but they will be eventually. Then I left 2 pages blank and set up 52 double pages for my to-do list. And what I did for that was I set out 8 blocks, even though there obviously are only 7 days in a week, but I thought I could use the 8th block for maybe goals or include a quote or whatever. You know, even though maybe it's not something that you want to do on a specific day, you might just want to make a note to yourself, oh, remember this is the week that I need to get the oil changed in the car, or, you know, don't forget that the electric bill is due on Friday, or whatever. This 8th box would be a good place for that. So these blocks are 19 high by 12 grids wide, and then 2 empty grids between each, side by side as well as top to bottom. And you get 8 symmetrical blocks for a 2-page spread. So then 52 of those for the year. And then once that's through, I left, again, 2 blank pages, and journaling will begin here. And I like this system because it's not, you're not limited to 1 page for 1 day or 2 pages for 1 week. I can journal 1 sentence, or I can journal 5 pages for 1 day. It just depends on the day, and I can draw, I can practice, you know, my handwriting, whatever, and it doesn't matter because I've got as much space as I you know, want to use. So I know right now that this system is just going to be much more freeing for my journaling, which is a very cool thing. Now, once this journal is filled, it will stay inside this cover because it does have my month at a glance and my to-do lists for each day. So I will then just add to it, which is the beauty of the Midori system, whatever notebook I decide to work in next. I think for right now, I'm going to try to go into this CD notebook just because I love the paper. It's just, I can't even describe how wonderful, wonderful this paper is. And the only thing that I'm kind of worried about is the size of it. It's got 96 sheets, and I love to put in ticket stubs and photos, and I will be doing tip-ins still, just for, you know, not necessarily because that's the only place I have to journal, but I like the look of that. I think tip-ins are really fun. So I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get away with in a journal that's this size. The other thing I wanted to mention to you journalers out there who like the Inktense technique with the baby wipe, surprisingly, it bleeds through on this paper. So if that is a technique that you really rely on to getting color onto your pages, this may not be the notebook for you. Now, you know, you may want to circumvent that by, you know, gluing or washi taping 2 pages together. But I'm of the opinion that you paid for those 2 pages, right? You should be using them. And so you should find a notebook that works for you and allows you to use it to its fullest potential. So I would say that this Midori notebook is your better choice than this particular CD notebook. Now, the final option that I'm thinking about, if this is not working, what I'm probably going to switch into are Muji notebooks. And I got these on Amazon. They come 3 in a pack, and the price point is fabulous. They're less than $10 for 3 of them. So the other thing that I really like about these, not only are they inexpensive, but there are only 30 pages to each notebook. So I know that I can stuff the tar out of these, and then it's not going to be an issue in terms of them, you know, crying uncle and giving up. I know that this will take whatever I can put into it. Now, that being said, the paper is really great. It will take the Inktense technique. It will take the distress stains that I like to use so much. my fountain pens, all of that is good. The only, well, I would say there are two things. I don't like that it's not grid, it's blank, and I can't find it anywhere in grid. If they do make it and you know where somewhere that I can get it, again, I would really love to know that, because all I can find it is blank. And I prefer grid paper. The other thing I'm not really crazy about is that when you put wet media on it, it does wrinkle. Not a lot, but enough to be noticeable. So that might be an issue for you as well. I think I'm going to give it a go, even though it does wrinkle. It doesn't bother me that much, but I don't know, when it gets full it might bother me, because I don't know about writing on wrinkled paper. That might be an issue. So, but I do know that they will definitely fit in here. So that is the setup, start to finish. I hope that this has been helpful. I know that some of you out there are new to journaling, and this may give you an idea of whether or not the A5 size is right for you, and whether or not the Midori style of journaling is right for you. Also, I know a lot of people are thinking about switching up their setup for 2016, and this might be a really good option for you as well. So as always, if you have any questions, please leave them down below. I definitely will answer for you. And if you could leave me a comment or give me a thumbs up or become a subscriber if you haven't already, that would be great as well. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will check you guys out in the next video. Peace. I'm out.